What up, T-Bird Nations? Mr. Eitzen. Time for your T-Bird Math Minute on stats. Get a paper and pencil out, and you may need a calculator for some of these, so here we go. Alright, so we got a little graph here, and we got 3 questions. Number 1, is this graph skewed left, skewed right, or centered? 2, is this graph unimodal, bimodal, or multimodal? And 3, what type of graph is this? A bar chart, frequency diagram, histogram, or a step graph? Teachers, please pause the video here and let students answer these 3 questions, and then I will go over the answers in a bit. Alright, so for telling if it's skewed left, skewed right, or centered, we want to look at this graph and see where the tail is. And the tail is going to be the lower part of the graph. So this would be the tail. And since it's on the right side, this graph is skewed right. Number 2, is this graph unimodal, bimodal, or multimodal? We're trying to tell how many peaks there are in the graph. And there's 1 peak in this graph. So we want to use these prefixes to give us clues of which one is talking about 1 peak. Well, UNI, uni stands for 1, bi stands for 2, and multi stands for many. So if this has 1 peak, I want to go with unimodal. And number 3, what type of graph is this? Although because of the bars you want to say bar chart, it's actually a histogram because of the way the bars are represented. They're all close together, and that's how we would draw a histogram, not a bar chart. So the option C is the correct choice. Alright, next section of questions. The following represents weights of 21 freshman football players in pounds. So we got a stem part of the graph and a leaf part of the graph. And then they give you a helpful key there to help you interpret that. And then number 1, what is the mode weight? Number 2, what is the mean weight for this group? And 3, what is the range of the data given? Teachers, please pause the video here and allow students to answer these 3 questions, and then I will go over the answers. Alright, so if we're looking at what is the mode weight, we're looking for the most occurring number in that list. So if I look right here, I've got all these 3's. So that tells me that the mode weight is going to be 143. What is the mean weight for this group? Mean stands for the average, so you want to take the sum, or you want to add up all of those numbers in there. So 136 plus 139 plus 139 plus all the rest of them, and then divide that big number by 21, since there are 21 freshman football players here. So when you do that, you get the number 147.9, but I'm going to round this to 148 because they put the numbers to the nearest whole number when they gave me the information. So I'm going to round that to 148. There's my mean weight for this group. And then the last question, what is the range of the data given? The range is the highest number in the set subtracted by the lowest number in the set. So we would do 164 minus 136 and get 28. Alright, our last set of questions here. Use the graph of the distribution of science test scores to answer the questions. Number 1, what type of graph is this? A, box and whisker plot, B, frequency diagram, C, histogram, or D, step graph. 2, within what score range did the top 25% of students score? And 3, what does the number 81 represent for the situation? And lastly, what percent of students scored below a 90? Teachers, please pause the video here and allow students to answer the questions, and then I will answer them. Alright, number 1, what type of graph is this? This is a box and whisker plot, hence the box and the lines coming out of the box, being the whiskers. Now, a box and whisker plot splits up the data into quarters or quartiles, so that you've got 25% of the data represented by that line, 25 by the line on the other side of the box, and then 50% represented by the box itself. Number 2, within what score range did the top 25% of students score? Well, after I explain that, you can see now that 25% in the top scored between 90 and 95. So that's your answer for number 2. And then number 3, what does the number 81 represent for this situation? 81 is a line in the, well, not always in the middle of the box, but it's in the box, and it represents the median, or in other words, the middle number of a group of data. And then number 4, what percent of students scored below a 90? Well, here's 90, and I've got the box, which represents 50% of the data, and the left whisker, which represents the bottom 25%. So 25 plus 50 is 75%.